Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me back there in the back? Is that a no? Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Raise your hand if you still can't hear me. Is it coming through better now? Okay. Well, as you can see from what's on the TV screen, this is not 1st or 2nd Samuel. What we are going to do today is to show you a documentary of our son and his wife's work over in Papua New Guinea. Now, the reason we're going to do this is because, first of all, it's very well done. And the reason that it's so well done is it is produced by a company, a corporation over there called Digicel. And Digicel sells cell phones. And so they've got money, and they actually contributed to what Jesse and Gary are going to talk a lot about today, which is the house cotting. Anybody know what that is? Why, you should know. That's maternity ward.
Oh. Well, don't look at me. I've never had kids.
Well, I looked
And
at
I've got 3 of them.
But they contributed a lot of money to the maternity ward that Jesse built and attached to the clinic. But it's one of the reasons that we wanted to do this is lots of times when missionaries come here, all you get to do is hear them say a little bit at the church service. Over the church service, they'll say, "Hi, it's good to see you again. We haven't seen you for a few years," and talk a little bit. But I'll say something that my mother-in-law said several years ago when they came over to witness Jesse's, the guy that's in this, his graduation from high school. My mother-in-law made the comment, she said, "You've been writing to us and talking to us for 18 years of what it's like over here, but you can't know unless you come." And so this presentation is going to give you a whole lot better idea of the living conditions that they do, the traveling conditions that they do, that they have to do. And I hope it just gives you a lot broader appreciation or an understanding of what goes on over there in a situation like this. And just a little bit of history before we go on. When this church started, we were the first missionaries. You remember back in the day? That's a long time ago. Benita and I were the first missionaries that this church supported.
The church started in '74, and we visited a few times, but we started in training in 1975, and then we went to Papua New Guinea in '77, and Jesse was born over there a month after we got there. So he was born in Port Moresby. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was interesting experience. First child born over there in a Quonset hut that was built in World War II.
And his birthday is this week, so he'll be 49. That lets you know how old I am.
53.
The interesting part, and I don't want you to get jealous, but our total hospital bill was $24. Of course, we had to furnish our own towels, our own bedding, and those little incidentals. But it was we were pretty naive at that time. We thought that when you had a baby, you go to the hospital, have the baby, come home. Well, that's what happened, basically. Because in Papua New Guinea, different from America, in America, they prepare for the 20% of the ones that need extra help and not the 80%. Well, it's just the opposite in Papua New Guinea. They're prepared for the 80% of normal birth. And fortunately, ours was a normal birth. And that was just the beginning of things over there for us, eye-openers. But anyway, so the introduction to this is called the Sepik Cowboy. I don't know where they got that. Oh, just one little tidbit, the lady that's the wife of the teacher of this class actually came over to Papua New Guinea for an internship way, way back in the day.
Oh, she's younger than we are.
So enjoy this, we're going to show this, and then we're going to have some times for question. We're
I
going
wanna
to give a
say
report on
Tim,
our
I
work,
wanna say
which is
something before he
a very important report to you. And then we're going to have a prayer time. So take it away, Leon.
Okay, I wanted to say a couple of things.
Oh.
This is produced by Digicel because they have a foundation where they are a company, you know, they sell cell phones and other things, but they also have a foundation because the founder wanted to also somehow help the people in Papua New Guinea, the people in the bush. Believe it or not, people in the bush do have cell phones, but that's today. We did not have that back then.
They have a cell tower.
I know they have a cell tower and everything. It's amazing what technology has done. But this guy is a philanthropist and he wanted to help the indigenous people. And so this is produced by them. Jesse and Carrie don't show this in churches because this is from their point of view. They're trying to promote their company. You know, it's Digicel. But anyway, they are very appreciative of what John pointed to up there, NGOs, and that means a non-government run organization. And so they appreciate missionaries and people who are there, nonprofits, to help the people, and they do contribute. And so they did contribute a portion for this maternity ward that Jesse built. But it's amazing to me now how this has changed so much. But we have, you know, Jesse is funded just like we were with churches like you, and you do support them through faith support. But they also have been able to plug into companies like Digicel, people who have foundations that want to help the people who are out in the bush and help them. And so this is mainly it's promoting them, so it's not from a mission point of view. I just wanted to tell you it's different. Okay.
And the gentleman is obviously from across the pond, so when he says funding, it's funding.
He's Irish.
He's Irish, okay. Take it away. Now,
That's not him.
that's not Jesse. They are a segment. There are 3 or 4. See, this thing was actually shown in the movie theaters in Papua New Guinea, this program. And Jesse has become quite famous. He's recognizable. He's known as the White Puk Puk. Puk Puk is the word for alligator. And there have people, you know, he's kind of a celebrity because he's gone down to the Parliament House in Moresby and he's done comedy for fundraisers for the government. I don't know where he gets his humor, but he can have them rolling in the aisles, and he actually has had people come up and say, "Oh, you're the White Puk Puk on, you know, can we do a selfie?" And when he got home from that thing, he's done a couple of them. His wife said, "Yeah, like you need something else to make your head a little more swelled than it is now." He said, "It didn't do that. And by the way, are you going to carry my luggage back to the bedroom?" So, are we ready to go? Okay, here we go.
Ging Mao and Leslie. Neng le nain walen lo ging le yeme. Neng lemba ging lepasil layap kel ak angkap ma.
So the grass grows on top of the water. It's got a really thick root mass that causes it to float. We do have the airstrip, but that's a lot more expensive. So we try to use the waterways as much as we can. But because it's been dry season, a lot of the grass, there's no current. So the grass just grows from the edge of the river out into the middle. Oh, sorry, Serena. Okay. So this is a common problem. Excuse me, I've got to go to work. This village is actually 2 wards. They have roughly around 3,500 people here. They have a building for the aid post, but
it's been an empty shell forever.
It's been an empty shell as long as my family have been here. I mean, when I was a kid, I don't remember it, but I think for at least the last 30 years, there'd been no paid medical people working. So it was the same up in Samban, which is one of the main reasons why we started the clinic, because there was nobody here to do the work.
I think it's going to take some time, and it's going to take a lot of investment to improve the healthcare system here in Papua New Guinea. And that's why the not-for-profit sector, missionaries, and all these different people and organizations that we have got to know because we funded some of them, the work that they're doing is absolutely profound. It's unbelievable, using very meager resources, but they're providing top-class healthcare to local communities.
My mom and dad came back in '77, and they were the first missionaries with the group called Pioneer Bible Translators. And then from Port Moresby, my dad ended up here in Samban because of a partnership with another NGO that was already building like airstrips and infrastructure. So that's how they ended up here. The dream actually came from my dad. When he pitched it to me, he came and was like, hey, I've got this dream in Samban of having a place where people can come get educational training, medical treatment, and all of this. Dad wanted me for the construction and the mechanical skills. He wanted my wife for her educational skills because they were doing the Bible translation, but there was no one here to do literacy. So they really wanted my wife more than they wanted me because they wanted someone to be able to teach the people to read God's word in their own language, which is what my mom and dad did for 21 years.
Blood Joyce? Joyce tu inusta? I'm no come. Suppose you like changing me go to adopted parents, you must go to Engoram. One time, true papa na adopted papa. True papa must give him signing one form or say more papa. Na give him rights la disla nada man na adopt him. He got form long. These are some of the mothers that have come to deliver at our house Karim in the past year. We opened the house Karim last year with the help of Digicel Foundation. Opening this up was huge for the people. We've had so many times when we would be called to people's homes to assist in deliveries. That poses a challenge for the health workers to try to bring all the equipment necessary to assist in a labor and delivery, but in someone's private home.
Heartbeat the baby and beat good. You like Aaron? You are heartbeat the baby. Last moon imit plan na binaran.
When we first arrived, there was a local aid post, but there wasn't anybody working in the local aid post. And there hadn't been for about 15 years. And so Carrie was doing medical work just basically on our front porch because, well, you're an expat, you obviously can do medical stuff. Well, Carrie's a teacher, not a nurse. We helped because, I mean, how could we turn down people that needed help? But it just got to the point to where it was overwhelming and she couldn't deal with all. And I don't do medical stuff. If you come to me with medical problems, you are really on your last way. It's the last step before we bury you in the ground.
Tua to same time you sleep na you kirap you sa looking bed blue wet no.
We didn't have the backing when we first came like we do now. The current sitting member, Salio Waipo, has been very generous to us. He's donated funding for this building, but in the last 2 years we've treated over 5,000 patients a year at a clinic with only 3 medical staff.
By helping Uswara Lopez. Meaning something lang making and steam bata.
We now treat people from way out of our service area. People coming from the Angoram, we've got people coming from Yanguru, we've got people coming from Drekakia. We're treating people that sometimes have traveled a week, 2 weeks just to get here. We're not a high-profile NGO. We're just not. We live in a small section. Our niche is, so remote. But Digicel Foundation wasn't afraid to take a chance on somebody like us. If they see what you're doing is legitimate and then it's going to help the local people, they're more than happy to get on board and support that.
Sometimes people get confused that if you invest a lot of money, you get a great outcome. That's not true. You can use a small amount of money and get an unbelievable impact and an outcome. I mean, European healthcare providers could learn from some of the NGOs here in Papua New Guinea on how to take meager resources and create an incredible service to the local communities that they look after.
44 now. My passport's from the US, but I've lived in PNG for 33 or 34 of those years. One of the first things we said was that we took the verse out of Genesis 3:19 talking about by the sweat of your brow will you bring forth fruit from the land, to kind of get the idea across of no one's going to come and do this for you. We're going to have to do it ourselves.
You need to come on out of here, baby. Come on. You don't need to be in here. Come on. There's nothing in here. All the candy's moved.
When we first came, the idea was really to support the local schools as they existed. And that all they needed was just a little assistance from the outside, maybe a little improving the quality, a little bit of service delivery, maybe some resources that we could provide. But it became evident very quickly that that was not the only thing that was needed. What it kind of meant for us was that we got a hand in creating our own curriculum, which meant we could pick the things that we knew our students needed to know in order to be successful Atma people of the East Sepik, be successful citizens here of our province, and give some value and give some respect and honor back into their parents and their grandparents for all the things they know how to say and do, and who they are as people. The problem is not me wanting to keep that, it's actually convincing the local people that it's valuable. They don't want the local language, they don't want to learn how to build a traditional house. That is not desired here anymore. And I don't know whether that is because of media, whether it was because of an older school system that degraded the local system and the customs. I'm not sure where that's coming from, quite honestly, but that is a trend that I'm seeing with no one valuing those things anymore.
This is the house of my Kandre Bap, and she's in the middle of making the fish baskets because it's the start of rainy season, so she's getting all of her baskets ready for fishing. So what they do is it's a trap. There's an opening to it that the fish have to squeeze into, and then there's a holding. They submerge them in the water, and they put like ants or stuff, something that the fish will eat, like bait for the fish, and then the fish swim into it, and then the opening on this end that she's finishing up right now, there will be a wadding or something that she'll put in there to block the fish basket off. And then when she picks it up, she'll take that out and empty the contents. And so whatever fish or whatever are on the inside of it, that will be what's in the fish pot or the pot for cooking that night. Iblo sa lainim mor pigni o sa mor big pla kamanda ponem time ba iblo wokim mor la lainim la lainim mor yang pla meri. Oh, young pla meri now or no lainim yeah, the young women don't want to learn anymore. They just use nets. Grace we yeah. You saw el wokim no god. No, use the net. Net's easier.
So we see in the end of this, one generation is gonna be gone.
Maybe. You put the date on the headstone for when you're born, and you put the date on the headstone for when you die. And everything in between is just represented by a little dash. But that dash is what represents your life. And what you do with the dash is totally up to you. Coming back to Papua New Guinea was not what a quote-unquote normal person would make, because there wasn't any financial gain for me here. There wasn't any advancement in my personal career. But both Carrie and I felt called that coming back here, yeah, we'd be making a sacrifice for ourselves, but how many people would benefit from that? So by making that sacrifice, maybe we could show or prove to other people the love of Christ, because if you're not using your life to better situations and people around you, then what are you doing here?
But that's what they heard. And it worked, didn't it? The reason that they got involved in the school, because there was a government school in the village. They had 3 teachers, and one year they'd teach 1st, 3rd, and 5th grade, and next year 2nd, 4th, and 6th. However, to get paid, the teachers would have to go out to Angoram, and sometimes they'd go out and not come back for a week or 2, and sometimes the school wouldn't even be operating for weeks at a time. And then the government decided that they were no longer going to sponsor the first 3 grades. Was it the first 3 or first 2? In other words, if they said here, okay, we're not going to have grades 1 and grade 2 anymore. Well, that kind of left the local people hanging. So they came to Jesse and Carrie and said, will you make a school for us? And that's the school that he built there. And they graduated at that time, which was 4 or 5 years ago, 800 out of that school. And that's how they got involved with that. And the medical work, one of the things that really was a draw for them is when we were gone one furlough, our next door neighbor.
Michael.
Our next door neighbor, who was like our steward. He, was it a snake bite or what? He got sick and died.
He got cerebral malaria.
And Jesse just said, Dad, if Mom had been there, that wouldn't have happened. And so his name was Michael Kanja. And he was like what they call a number 2 papa to the boys. And his sons were the best friends of our boys. And when they found out that Michael had died, he just told us if you'd been there, it wouldn't have happened. So that really pulled them and got them here. And so that's why they came back. But we did medical work when we did like they were. In fact, Benita once got involved in delivering a retained placenta, which she had never done before in her training to go over there.
I was also trained as a teacher, not a nurse. And there was a reason I wasn't going to be a nurse.
And every day we'd have people line up to get sores covered, because the ground over there is great. I mean, you can plant a crowbar and grow nails. It's really, it grows, but it's caused of the bacteria. And little sores turn into what they call tropical ulcers, commonly known as jungle rot. And sometimes they could go all the way to the bone. If you catch them early and treat them, they're okay. But you know, sometimes they would come to the door and we'd be from there to the wall. We could smell. We knew what it was. It was tropical ulcer. And they liked Bonita because what I would do is I'd get out the alcohol and just really clean it real good, like that, because the sticky tape wouldn't work because they're, you know, a dirt. And I really enjoyed that. But the bandages stayed on. And I actually had one of those once, right on the point of my, just once, because I went through. What you have to do is you have to get a week-long series of penicillin shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Have you ever had a penicillin shot in the old rump? It doesn't feel very good. And I went to the house sick, which is hospital, and they said, okay, so I bend over and they stick it in, and I'm saying, well, that doesn't hurt. And he said, oh, wait a minute, this syringe isn't working. So the next syringe worked, but it is like liquid fire. But they gave me what they call a 3-in-1 shot. And we went out to where we were staying, and the nurse out there, Greg Law from the Australian Church of Christ Mission, said, that won't do you any good. You need to have 7. And so for some reason, I don't know why, whether it's just because I encouraged him by teasing or making fun of him a lot, he gave me the shots, and the last day, he took the cotton and just really rubbed it in good. And it was already sore because, I mean, I was sore for 6 weeks. But that's just the situation over there. And anyway, just what Tom?
She had a question during the video about, you said there's grub worms.
Oh, did you see when they were showing the food, that little brown thing? That was smoked larvae of the rhinoceros beetle, which is a delicacy over in that area. I can't tell you what it tastes like because it doesn't taste like anything that you've ever had. Fortunately, Bonita's allergic to it, but Jesse just eat them raw. And so, just wanted to share that with you. Hope you had a good breakfast. The way they harvest them, because they cut down a sago palm and then cut holes in the palm, and then the beetles get in to the center of the core of the sago palm, which is fibrous, lay their eggs, go back 6 weeks later, split open the sago palms, and then get all the grubs out of it. And in the old days, they just had sharpened wood, and it might take them all day long to chop down one of those sago palms. So I went with them once, and you know, we need to be thankful for drive-throughs and things like that, because they work hard for their food every day. Before we go further, just any questions of...
What tree were they using for the baskets? And were they stripping, obviously they were stripping it themselves before they could weave.
I think,
you know what
I
the
think
plant was or the tree was?
Actually, I think that was taken from the stem of a sago palm.
Okay.
You know, they're very hard and very long, and they just kind of strip off sections of them like that. And I went with them once when they had all the baskets, but does anybody here know what the term noodling is? Where are you from?
Around here, I grew up in Pennsylvania.
Do they noodle around here?
Not much, but some.
Well, I thought only Oklahoma. Noodling is where you go to a river or a lake and you go down under the water and try and find the holes where the catfish are. Now, anybody that wants to stick their hands underwater and go in underwater and the day we were there, this one goes, whoa, and there went this snake up in the air. And I decided, I don't want to do that. But like I say, they work hard for their food. And even at night when the rainy season and, you know, you hear the crickets around here and the frogs like that, they go out at night and get the frogs and throw them in the pot. And they, I mean, they're always eating. The boys would go out with their friends, and if birds would fly by, they'd try and knock them down with a stick. And Benita would fix a wonderful supper, and the boys would come in and, well, we're not hungry. Well, what have you been eating? Well, Tack, who was our next door neighbor, said, we've been eating the sago. Sago was their staple. It's kind of like wallpaper paste, but it doesn't taste that good. But that's what they eat. That's their staple. And
It's carbohydrate,
yeah,
strictly carbohydrate.
But they hunt too and lots of things. Any other questions?
They were talking about the fish baskets.
Yeah.
And kind of how sad they were that that generation was disappearing from nets. If the nets are better, what's the concern? Just the community around making the baskets and stuff?
The cost.
And the cost?
Yeah.
So the nets are obviously
Yeah.
more expensive.
I mean, when we were living there, the average income for somebody out in the bush was probably less than $100 a year.
Right.
And
Sure.
a lot of them wasn't even anything. I mean, they just don't make anything. But it's just, if you ever jump out of a plane and land in a jungle, you want somebody from Papua New Guinea with you. Because they can live off the jungle.
Yeah, they know.
One time, some officers from the Australian Defence Force came up and did a 2-week training in the jungle with a bunch of Papua New Guinea soldiers. And when they came out, they were, and the Papua New Guinea guys were going, man, that was really fun. But because in the early days, they got everything from the jungle. Their clothes, their food, their building materials, everything. And it's really, I mean, we think of a third world country as people not really got a lot going on. But the things that they could do with just what's available for them is really fantastic. Now, here's the problem, and I want to address this. The worst thing that, in my opinion, that our country exports are movies. Our movies. Because when we first got there, they all thought that every woman in America was a prostitute. Because that's what they saw in the movies. And especially like now, it's all changed, but if a woman wore jeans, well, obviously you're one of those kind of women because those are the way they dress. In fact, they called what I've got on, they called it cowboys. I don't know why, but, and so when we moved there in '77, a national man had never assaulted an expatriate woman. But they showed a movie in Papua New Guinea of a black man assaulting a white woman, and the very next week it happened. And so, I mean, it's really terrible. I mean, and Westernism is creeping in. You know, movies like let's see, what they call the Titanic, the Titanic or something like that. Anyway, but they, you know, they see these things and they just make the assumption that's what America's like. It's too bad they didn't show them Westerns, because that would have been a good guy always wins. And
So are they striving to be like Americans? Is that why
They
they're
like- they-
concerned?
Well, you know, if suddenly, before all you had to send messages was with a log drum, and now you've got a cell phone that you can call anybody in the country. I mean, it was really funny when we came back from a furlough once, and we saw a Highlands man, and he was in the traditional dress. You know, he had the big leaves that covered, you know, his waist. And he was an old guy, he had to be 60 years old or anything like that, walking down the road, looking at his cell phone. You know, if the aliens ever come and attack us, they'll say, no problem, they're all looking down. And, you know, just things like that. And like when we were there, if Benita's folks wrote us a letter and asked a question, it was like a 6-week turnaround. To get it back, send it, you know. Anyway, now, like last night, I was talking to Jesse on WhatsApp, face to face. He's sitting in the front room. It's incredible, the difference between how it was when we were there. I mean, he's got a TV in his house and gets programs from Australia. Man, I didn't have a TV. And in fact, they didn't even have it in town for a long time. I can remember OJ and the white Bronco. Benita's folks called and they said, what are you doing? We said, well, we're watching OJ. And they said, well, we are too. It's amazing. But we always considered ourselves, and Jesse and Carrie do too, as a buffer between Westernism and what's going on. So it's very unfortunate, but it just keeps coming on strong. Yes.
Since we haven't been in this church that long, I don't really know, y'all as a couple and what y'all did in Papua New Guinea, but you worked with Pioneer Bible Translation?
Yes, ma'am.
So what were y'all translating? What language do they speak in Papua New Guinea?
Well, there's 800 languages in Papua New Guinea. 800
languages?
Not just dialects, 800 languages. And we were with the Atma people. Atma in their language means no, N-O. And for some reason, the language in that area are all known by how they say no. My brother and his family were Fubara. That's where they were. That's no. I don't know, but that's what we did. And one of the things that's so much different than what we did and what Jesse and Carrie did is we just went in the bush and we stayed in the bush and we didn't do networking because we were translating, and that's what we were doing. Well, Jesse and Carrie, as you can see from something like that, they've done an incredible job of networking in government people and educational people. And that's how he got invited down to Port Moresby to do the entertainment for this big fundraiser for the government, is because he's good friends with the governor of the province and the vice governor. And they're good friends with everybody. And that's why it's really different. But that's what we did. We were really located in the village and in the village. And Benita did some literacy work. I don't know if you saw that one picture of her where she was standing by a blackboard. But that was our main thrust. Jesse and Carrie went over there to do what they call community development. And one thing that I do want to say, that's just not what they do. That's almost kind of aside because they're still involved in doing church work there.
In fact, Jesse, see, last night it was Sunday noon over there already, and he had actually preached in church that morning. And we said, what'd you preach on? He said, well, I just told the story of Joseph and some of the lessons, 4 lessons we can learn from Joseph. I said, well, that's a good story. That's a good thing. But they are involved in church work too. This Digicel, of course, was stressing the education and the medical part, but they are involved in the church there. And when we were there for actually about 25 years. We came back in 2002, and Jesse and Carrie went over in 2004. So it wasn't too long a gap, and they went to do what they did. But while we were there, John worked with some national fellows who speak Atma, the language, and trained them to do translation. And the exciting thing is our co-translator, Maso Leko, has continued to work on the translation even since we've been back here, we were able to do some of the books, but not all the books of the New Testament. He has continued the work, and he is right now in Madang with one of the Pioneer Bible Translator consultants, and they are checking the last book. They're checking Revelation, and that will be the final consultant check. And then they should be done by the end of this month, because they finished the Gospel of John in June, and now they're doing Revelation. And then everything left for him to do will be like if you were editing any other book, you know, going through, making sure things are consistent, your spelling is consistent, all that kind of editing. But anyway, we are rejoicing in the fact that now, after 50 years, this New Testament is going to be finished in Atma, and hopefully it will go off to the printers, you know, in the next few months. And next summer, this time around, or sometime next year, they'll be having the dedication and so on. And John and I hope to be back, you know, travel back for that, Lord willing. But anyway, that's the exciting thing, and we definitely want to share prayer requests from them right now before we leave. I think our time is getting short, but they have some specific prayer requests for them. But the big prayer request right now for us is that Maso and the consultant would complete the final check. And this, going through a New Testament, there are lots of different checks. There are visor checks and exegetical checks and on and on and on. But this is the final consultant check for the book of Revelation happening right now, these next couple of weeks before July. So just pray that that will be complete, and then Maso can go on and do the editing part and get the book in print. And we'll be rejoicing. And you're a part of that, because you have supported us, you have supported Jesse and Carrie, and it's a wonderful celebration.
We were very blessed to get Maso as our co-translator. He was actually my village nephew, because I got hepatitis that first term, and all I could keep down was what we call coconut milk. Well, his grandfather started coming to our house every day. His name was Wongot, little short dude. The last guy in that area who had eaten human flesh, I might add. And he would say, "How's my son doing?" Well, I became his son, and his daughter was Maso's mother. So he was my goro, which is my nephew, because in that area, kinship terms determines behavior. We don't have a lot of that in America anymore, but anyway, so that's how that happened. And I need to tell this story. Wongot and Lowly Inns, these old men would come every day and sit in our house and look at the magazines, and sometimes they were upside down, turning them the wrong way. But one time, Benita was making pizza, and these little guys, they just came over. They'd never seen pizza before. And so Benita said, "Well, why don't you come back and eat with us this afternoon?" So they did. And Wongot took a piece, and then he said, do you have something I could wrap this in? And we said, "Yeah." And we said, "What for?" He said, "This would really go good with Sago." and Lowly Inns just went like this. But anyway, let me share a couple of these. They're right in the middle of an El Nino. And Jesse says it's as dry as it's ever been since the last one in
97.
And if you want to just kind of run through those, we just got these a couple of days ago. They hand drilled a well. And they had, just a little thing, a little auger like that. And they went down about 15 meters, about close to 40 feet. And believe it or not, found great water. And the problem in living in Samban, in that area, which is known as grass country, has always been good water. Because in the dry season, the only way they could get water was to dig a hole about 10 feet, and when you looked in there, you would not want to drink that water, and that's why they had so much illness. But now, that's the scaffolding they built, because if you can see, the guy on the very top, there's the thing they twist. They auger down about, so much, and then pull that up, take that dirt off. And they actually, just as they did what we did, we got down to so far and actually found rocks. And that country, eventually, it's known as the grass country. It's about 40 feet above sea level. It was one time covered by the ocean, we think, because you go down about 2 feet and then it's just sand. Well, he went down past that to about 40 feet. And the interesting thing is, the guys helping him, they said, he said, "I'll tell you what, if you'll help me do this, I'll put one of these down your village." So that means that water is not going to be the crucial problem that it's always been in the village there. They'll have good water that they have, and it's a solar-powered pump. And it's just, like I say, the technology is crazy. Anyway, be praying for rain, because in September and October, they're going to have 2 back-to-back groups of people come over to help them build the next addition to the big classroom building or meeting building. It's going to be like, in America, we call the basketball gym the Family Life Center. Well, it's going to be big enough that you can play basketball and volleyball in it, but also you can have meetings, church meetings, graduation programs, all sorts of things that you can't have because it's raining or whatever. And he wants us to pray, because he said, "Dad, the hardest part is just getting all the material in." Because they're working now welding the rafters for it, and they've already got the foundations. They have to wait to run the slab until it's wet season again, and they can go out and get the gravel and the cement to bring it in. But they're going to have these 2 teams come over and he said, "Dad, just pray, for the team working here. We'll get all the materials in." And they're real excited about that.
And these teams are like your short mission trip, people that have gone out from here to do medical work. The last one that went to Brazil, there's a team going from Stillwater, Oklahoma, from Sunnybrook Church, and there's another one going from North Carolina. You remember Glenn Van Meter? It's from his church. They've got a group going, and they'll just go for a short-term mission trip, 10 days or whatever, but it's a lot of preparation for them, and I'll pray for those people going, because you see the conditions. It's not like downtown Seymour or Knoxville. So pray for them.
And pray for Carrie, because this isn't 2 or 3 guys. They're bringing both of the teams that are coming, or several people coming.
About 10 people, I think.
And so but like I say, if they can get all the materials in to build it, they can throw that thing together. But just pray for that, pray for the people. Going over, we used to have people come over, and there were 3 kinds. There was like the one kind of person that was the explorer. They like Bob Berry. And he came over and said, "I want to do it all."
Yeah.
And he did do it all. And then they have people that come over and want to just, kind of meander around in the village and get a little look. And then you have the people that sit in the house like this. Because it's so different. And, you didn't see that, Tim. They sit like this. Yeah, okay. And so you never know. I'm suspecting that these guys are coming over, they're old construction guys, so nothing's going to, let's get this thing going. So, yes.
Is Marcia Relier Mills, is she the one that's
Right now,
consultant?
she's
She's
doing
the
checking
consultant,
now
yes.
on this last book.
Yes.
Okay, is she still, I know she had trouble getting a visa.
She's
because-
still in Canberra,
They're
but
Zoom.
she's using
Yeah.
Zoom. It's amazing what we can do with technology. But yes, yeah, Marcia's the one doing the final
Yeah, I
check.
knew she was with her daughter, but.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so pray for the guys coming over there, they'll get all the material, and get some rain. They actually had an inch of rain the night before last.
Yeah.
But I wish we could.
Yes, definitely pray for rain.
Those
them.
pictures where you saw them pushing through, you know, in that little waterway, those have pretty much dried up, and they're walking now along the side of that. And that big town, village, Wom, where it said Wom, now, that has been reduced down to a little creek about, you know, this wide in the middle of the village. It's very, very dry, so it makes it difficult coming and going. And as I said, Jesse said, this is the driest I've seen it since '97, when the last El Nino came through. So, you know, there's so many things. I wish everybody in this room, and a lot of people in America, could get out of America. Y'all that have been to Africa and other places like that, and just see that so much of what we take for granted is luxury for the rest of the world, like a clinic, emergent, and they don't even have a Walmart over there that I don't think of. But I mean, just so much that we take for granted. If I get sick, I'll go down to the emergency room. I remember one time Benita had malaria, and we couldn't get her temperature down. And so I just called in some of the local people, and they surrounded her bed. And when they pray over there, they all pray at once, and they pray loud. So they all started praying. Guess what happened? Temperature broke. So, you know, God's still in control of these things, but we're blessed in this country. Can you, have I covered?
Yeah. This
yeah.
is prayer request, but you need to cut it off.
Okay, Benita's giving me this, so. Any quick questions though before, I've got that a lot, trust me. When we would come back, I'd usually do one sermon everywhere we went because there's a new congregation. And Benita would sit there and just like, John's such a good preacher, I just love this, and she knew what I was gonna say. And one time I got off on a rabbit track and I went, where am I, Benita? And she goes, you're right here. And go, that's right. Anyway, thank you for letting us do this. I hope this has given you a little bit of history, a little bit more understanding.
Are they still using the sawmill?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's how they get all their wood. They have to go to another area because the trees in the grass country are not good. But what they do, have you ever heard of the portable sawmill? Okay, he'll go in, and the local people will cut the logs, and he'll say, you know, for every log we get, I'll cut a log for you.
July 28th.
And so all that wood that you saw in all that building, that's from a portable. He's already been through one, and I think he's got 2 more that he uses. But it's amazing what they can do with that.
My sister.
Because when we built our house, we had to spend several $100s just to transport the wood from WEWAC. That was half, maybe at least half of the expense of the house was just getting it in.
And
Times change.
do you have a report on Dr. Eubanks? Betty Ann?
Margaret says to tell you she thinks he's doing pretty well.
Okay.
No, he's not the same,
No,
but,
I think he's happy to be back at Trinity Hills.
yes.
Yeah.
Still no visiting.
I like,
I don't think they would open the door and say anybody come, but if you think you had to go, then it would be okay, but he can't really get it in.
I'm just gonna sing the chorus of that.
Okay.
You know, here's what I want to do to close. You know the chorus to Victory in Jesus? Oh, victory, you know that one? You want to start it? Oh, I'll sing.
You sing.
Oh, victory
In Jesus, my Savior forever, He sought me and bought me with His redeeming blood.
He loved me ere I knew Him, and all my love is to Him. He plunged me to victory beneath the like to say thanks to my technical assistant over here, Mr. Tim Berry. Did a wonderful job, Tim. And let's pray. Father, we thank you for the work that you're doing in this world, and we're thankful that we can be a part of it. We pray your blessings on the church here and their outreach into the community, and for Jesse and Carrie and many others who are serving you far from home. We pray your blessings on all of them, and just thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
John, I did notice one other difference from 1980. You had hair.
That's right.
Oh.